Bill Evans has a special love for nature.
There's a woodpecker. See the little woodpecker in the tree right yonder? No, you can't see him. Anyhow, I digress.
Evans and other berry farmers have to keep their crops moisturized by using sprinkler systems like this one. However, with the recent morning freezes, the farmers are hoping for the best. In the case of a power outage, most people know to keep a candle or a flashlight nearby them for light. However, the SCEMD also advises you to keep your cell phone near you at all times as well, and charged in case you need to contact authorities for help. We also contacted some of the sponsors of the bill, including Representative Stephen Long. However, in discussions about an interview, he said he'd rather talk about his rollback tax bill rather than the parity marriage bill. New ownership is coming to the poorhouse here in 5 Points after it was closed down soon after a fight broke out between the former owner and a USC student. So how do people feel about the bar reopening? Well, we've asked around and it seems that students are happy with the idea of new ownership coming in and that it may be a much needed change to the establishment. I'm Trevor Beck with WIS 10 News.
Welcome back to Carolina News. Let's get back into the game with Trevor in sports.
Yeah, so Trevor, how about Asia Wilson last night?
Oh yeah, she dominated last night. It's great to see a Gamecock get recognized for this, but what I'm really looking forward to is when she faces Alicia Gray one day out on the court. That is going to be a good game, I swear. All right, let's get right into it with the biggest story of last night. Asia Wilson was in the WNBA draft last night at the New York Nike headquarters. Wilson was the first round first pick and is the first Gamecock in the WNBA to have that and the third ever Gamecock in any sport to have it. And I would have bet on it, but I guess you could say Wilson is a high roller now as she's with the Las Vegas Aces. Softball heads out this weekend to take on number 6 Florida for their series game this weekend as well. The women are feeling good after their 7-0 victory over the Winthrop this past Wednesday, but the women have been known to struggle with the games on the road, and we hope that doesn't affect them against Florida this weekend either. There will be plenty of volleyball this weekend as the Gamecock women's team hosts their regular tournament. The tournament will feature duels from Coastal Carolina, Missouri State, Tulane, and College of Charleston. The team will go against Tulane tonight at 5, and it's their last one of the season. Check out this one young Cubs fan skipping school with his brother to go watch a game. So he's holding up the sign saying to not tell his principal, but the principal ended up finding out anyway. As it turns out, the principal was at that very same game.
Kind of shrugged a little bit at first, but I'm like, just go ahead and say hi. You're skipping school kind of thing. And then they popped that sign up, and it was just complete humor at that point in time.
We thought it was funny, and I wasn't nervous because I know he's such a great principal that he wouldn't be mad or anything.
I don't think my principal would have been cool with me doing that. Back when I was his age, I think I'd get in trouble from that by a lot of people.
Yeah, I probably would have too. I was a pretty bad kid, so
and
yeah.
The principal is my dad, so I definitely wouldn't get in trouble.
Oh, no. All right, well, coming up.
We are tracking showers and much cooler temperatures ahead in your first alert forecast. Breaking in the last 20 minutes, a Richland County murder suspect has been captured. We have crew headed to the scene and working to get the latest information from investigators. Plus, Samsung has created a partnership with USC and Clemson, and a live report why the timing of this deal is vital for Newberry County. Your news at noon starts in 1 minute. A Sumter man has been arrested on child pornography charges. Officials say 58-year-old Mark Gainey is being charged with 5 counts of exploitation of a minor in the second degree. He faces up to 10 years in prison on each count. But coming up on your news at noon, a former Team USA gymnastics doctor has been sentenced to prison. This after athletes continue to come forward accusing him of sexual misconduct. Details after the break. Lexington County residents may have thought the end of the world was happening last night after 2 confirmed tornadoes touched down in the county. Thankfully, though, they didn't cause much damage. Instead, other storm winds knocked over trees, including resident Jim Harp, whose backyard pine tree snapped in half after he heard a pop.
Well, the pine tree cracked. Once we had gone back in the house, we heard the pop, and it go down. Power outage went out, and we were out for about 45 minutes, and we were lucky it was only for that long.
And just down the road from Harp, this. A downed tree landing right on top of a home on Laurel Road. Harp said they had just moved in less than 2 weeks ago. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the tree did help start a power outage for the neighborhood. In the case of a power outage, most people know to keep a candle or a flashlight nearby them for light. However, the SCEMD also advises you to keep your cell phone near you at all times as well, and charged in case you need to contact authorities for help. The South Carolina Emergency Management Division confirmed that over 60,000 power outages occurred last night. Kim McLeod gave advice on what to do should your house get damaged by a storm.
If your house has been damaged, you really need to evacuate. You don't want to stay inside a damaged building. That's very important because it might be structurally unsound. People should contact their insurance company to see what kind of compensation they can get, and then also contact your local emergency manager in your county and to report the damage.
Hopefully, though, an accident like this won't happen to you, but it's always safe to stay prepared. Trevor Beck, Carolina News. Thanks, ladies. North and South Korea leaders met this morning at a historic summit to discuss plans on ending the Korean War and denuclearization, but the U.S. still remains cautious. A war spanning 65 years is finally being discussed to end, and the tyrannical regime of Kim Jong-un in North Korea is in talks with denuclearization. The Korean summit today saw both leaders crossing each other's borders, shaking hands, eating cake, and even a hug. President Trump has even congratulated the two leaders on the summit. However, the United States is staying cautiously optimistic. I talked to political science professor Shagri Sabaga from Midlands Technical University, who says North Korea could easily use this agreement for themselves.
Now that they've strengthened their country militarily, moved it beyond a point where anyone could really attack the regime, now it's time to shore up the economy. Now it's like, what can you do to bribe me into denuclearization?
With North Korea being militarily strong, they're now looking to strengthen their economy by strengthening their relationship with South Korea, Southeast Asia, and the United States. It's still progress to see the Korean Peninsula have peace talks for the first time in a decade.
Even though we're very skeptical of it, even though there's glittering generalities, we shouldn't underestimate the huge promises this has to de-escalate where we've been for the last year or 2 years.
The U.S. is supposed to have a summit with North Korea either in May or June of this year. They hope to further discuss the topic of denuclearization, but Sagaba says anything could happen before then. Live in the newsroom, Trevor Beck, Carolina News. When a group of friends get together, they usually watch something or do an activity together. And these artists do just that with face painting sessions. The Columbia Art Museum hosts the sessions that started 23 years ago by David K. Phillips and a couple of his friends in a loft.
Now there's some wonderful art groups. I painted with the university. They had a figure session down there for a long time. I paint with the City Arts Center at Columbia. I teach over there. And there's some wonderful art groups around that are supportive, but not as supportive as this group.
Phillips' group has 2 sessions, one for face painting portraits and one for figure or full body painting. Both include a model, even if they didn't know they were going to be one.
And the model we have tonight that you see is a very lovely young girl who just came in. It's her first time with us, and we told her she had to pose because the other model didn't show up. So
some of the artists enter their own world when they start painting, and Liz Walsh is no exception. Walsh has been with the group for a year now and loves it.
I feel like it's a very unique group of people that I can't find elsewhere.
The artists can draw the subject any way they want, or draw something completely different, as long as they allow others to critique and offer to help their work. These sessions are meant to inspire artists that want to improve their craft, not with teachers, but with friends, in a place where they can be themselves.
Oh, it's important because there needs to be space for funky people, and also people who are normal need to find their funky space. So stuff like this has to thrive.
For Carolina News, I'm Trevor Beck.